What is up, everybody? Matt here with Digital Freedom Network. And to quote the great Warren Buffett, if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you're going to work until you die.
Hey everyone, Mike Klingler here. A lot of you might remember that last I made a video about Davor Coin. I was saying a lot of red flags. Weren't taking good care of their leadership. We're controlling the market too much, not letting people sell their DAV, which created a lack of confidence. There were all kinds of things going on. I want to talk about what happened to Davor Coin and what just happened with your money, and what we might be able to expect next, and what I'm going to be doing going forward, and just kind of some lessons from all of this. A lot of you know that I put in all of my savings, 161,000 initially, which people might say was stupid, and you know, for most people that is stupid. For me, I throw myself into things. A lot of you know I have a health challenge, so I'm trying to generate enough to retire very quickly and be able to go take care of a surgery that I have to do in a foreign country that's going to cost a fortune because I can't do it here without damaging me. So I'm under a lot of, I'm not going to say stress. I'm going to say I have a lot of motivation to take more risk than normal. And because of that, people can learn and have a lot of entertainment vicariously watching what I do. And I put all of my $161,000 that I had, every penny of it, into Davor Coin. And a couple days later, BitConnect announced that they were going to fraud everybody, which, you know, caused a lot of concern. But that's not what doomed Davor Coin. It was a factor. I think it caused fear in them more than the marketplace, because the market, you might remember when that first happened, it didn't tank on Davor right away. Not at all. People were kind of thinking, maybe it's going to grow Davor. It was how Davor responded that tanked Davor. By the way, I created a group called Risky Business, and that's where I invite people to come and talk about these lending platforms. And it is risky business if you're going to continue to do them. I'm going to talk about what I suggest that you do instead to grow your Bitcoin and stay in control of your Bitcoin and not let somebody else hold it. A lot of you might remember I was in a back and forth discussion with Julian, apparently the owner of Davor Coin, and just one of the emails here, you know, I had to surrender because they had, as I talked about in my last video, they had locked me out of my account because they said that I violated the terms. Now, understand, they didn't email me first. They didn't ask any questions first. They just locked me out of my account with no communication whatsoever. And this is somebody who had put in $161,000 lend, and then had put another $27,000 in after that from the interest. So I was really believing in them and giving them incredible, I was just putting a lot of faith into them, you know, and that was how I was repaid, locking me out of my account. Because after a while, after I made a video and made a viral video saying, if you post this video, you know, I told the story and I had everybody post the video about what they did to me all over the internet and email them, and I had thousands of people emailing them. Then they reached out. To communicate to me. And this is really why Davor has struggled. No, I'm not here to, you know, to tear down Julian or anything. I just think people need to understand what really is the challenge with the lending platform industry beyond the regulatory issues. It's just a lack of leadership and care for people. And when you treat people badly, it wasn't just me. I heard of many that had been treated that way. You know, people are going to stop lending. I wanted to stop lending after that. Others wanted to stop lending after that. We share our story. That's what happened to Davor. Now, I ended up, you know, he gave me some terms saying, by the way, what happened was the person that referred me to Davor couldn't find a referral link, and they wanted to go to bed, and I wanted to sign up. And so I said, send me your login information, because they had just signed up, so I could find the referral link. And because of that, Davor Coin said that was my position. I was having two positions, and it's against their terms. And what I had said to them was, I can show you that the Bitcoin coming from my sponsor's account is being sent to another Bitcoin account and going into somebody else's bank. Like, we can do that instead of you just closing their account and locking me out of mine and making me pay back like all this interest and so forth that, you know, most of it I just reinvested back into Davor. But they didn't want to do that. They didn't want to look at it. They just wanted to take a bunch of money out of what I had lent. And again, even my feeling was Julian is a stand-up guy and a principled guy in many respects, but he knows when, when he doesn't want to know something because it benefits him not to know it. That's kind of the angle he was taking. And I think it was fear-based. I think they were fear-based from what happened to BitConnect, and they were afraid to let their resources go. And so they started really making bad decisions and mistreating the people they should have taken care of most. And had they not been so fear-based, I think they could have, they could have done just fine. And although there are the regulatory issues in the United States and Canada, but in Texas had given them a cease and desist, and that would have been something they would have had to have dealt with, or stopped marketing, at least in Texas, for example. But nonetheless, it was the way that they responded to the BitConnect event, I think, created fear in them that caused them to make decisions and treat people in a way that, especially their leadership, the people that had influence in their community, that really is what devastated the company. I hope they make it. I hope they find a way to create a utility token like they're talking about, but it's just really hard to imagine that they can do that based on what we've seen so far. So what really happened was, yeah, BitConnect screwed the market completely. I mean, you could say it was fraud. I don't know if it's any more fraud than the United States student loan system, getting all these middle class, lower middle class, upper middle class students to put out huge loans, and then they're paying it back for the rest of their life, and that most of them come out not having a good job at all. That seems like just as much a fraud as what maybe BitConnect did. And there's lots of those, right? The real estate boom, that ended up being a bubble that went bust, and a lot of people lost their homes. That looked like, fraud if what BitConnect did was fraud. So, I mean, I don't know, it's all relative, right? But BitConnect screwed the market. It did create fear. I think it created more fear in Davor Coin than it created in their marketplace that caused Davor Coin to make bad decisions. The cease and desist, not just to Davor Coin, but to all the companies, I mean, that was definitely a pressing issue. I don't know how they were going to deal with that, but those were small jurisdictions. It wasn't international. Davor Coin, their big mistake was they controlled the market too much. They prevented me from selling my Davor Coin. I put in $161,000 of my own money, which is now gone, which was everything I had. And again, I'm not complaining. I took the risk, but nonetheless, I'm just explaining what really happened. And when before they locked me out of my account and those shenanigans, by the way, they did that to other people that made big loans too. But before they did that, I was trying to sell just like $100 worth of DAV a day, and it wouldn't let me. It would let me sell about 100, and then it wouldn't let me for a while, and then a couple days would go by and it wouldn't let me sell any, and then I could again. And they told me, we don't want people controlling the market. I'm like, well, I'm just selling my interest to get the money I put in back after a couple of months. But they wouldn't do that, and that made me very unwilling to want to invest more. And I know they were doing that to others. So a lot of the people that only put in a little, they didn't see that, but people that put in a lot, which is their bread and butter. I mean, the people that were lending a lot, they were afraid to lend more because they couldn't sell their DAV. So they were controlling the market way too much. And by the way, I couldn't sell very much DAV, even when it was at 120, 140, 150 a DAV. They were overly controlling the market, which created fear in the people that lended the most. And that is definitely what I think crashed the market most, because people just wanted out. I wanted out. Everybody wanted out after that. And when they saw that I was trying to sell my, get as much as I could out, then they locked me out. And then I found out, I violated terms supposedly. And again, I'm not trying to be mean or anything. And I appreciate what they were trying to do, and I understand the challenges, but just a really mishandling of things. And I think it was all fear-based on their end. After BitConnect went down, I think they just started making really bad decisions that severed their relationships with the people that they needed to nurture relationships with, and they did it in a very striking way. So they controlled the market. I couldn't even get my DAV, even small amounts. I mean, like small amounts for me, to get back the amount that I lent, it might not be a small amount to you, but, to get back a couple $1,000s a day or whatever, it was very difficult. And it was very difficult to get the DAV even on an external exchange to sell. In fact, I couldn't get it on an external exchange. Even when it was over like $100 a DAV. It's just crazy. Like, how could they possibly survive under, doing those kinds of things? They didn't take care of their leaders, poor communication, again, across the board, not just with everybody, but when I was asking them, hey, will you at least look at the facts here and see that these aren't my upline's account isn't my account. The person referred me, it's not my account. I just logged into their system because they don't know what they're doing from a technological perspective. They couldn't find the referral link. But they didn't want to look to see. I could have proven that very easily. They weren't interested in that. They had an agenda, and they followed through on that agenda, and it's what led to the demise. And then there was just a zero service oriented culture. And I think that's the biggest problem with the lending platform, except Monetize Coin. And I'm not promoting Monetize Coin, but they are very good at communicating. They're very customer oriented. I don't know if they're going to be able to survive everything that's going on, because now what Davor has done after BitConnect, I mean, there is a very fear-based culture in the whole lending platform industry, and a lot of regulatory issues and so forth. But nonetheless, Monetize Coin does handle themselves very differently, I just want to say, and Finecoin also, which I never was involved with, may consider it because they're changing their model apparently, where it's not going to be a lending platform. Finecoin, they're addressing the regulatory concerns. So I do see some glimpse of hope in the market where they're changing, and it'll be those who adapt and who treat people well and who communicate well, who might, and who look at adjusting the model to address regulatory concerns that might survive and do very well. So what happened to your Bitcoin? Well, they probably spent a lot on the business development in supporting what they did. They possibly saved some. Maybe they still have some. I'm assuming they have some for the next project. They're saying they're going to develop, Davor Coin into a utility token or utility coin and build its value back up. Let's see. Let's hope. I don't know if that's just an exit statement or that's really their intention. I've got over 12,000 DAV, so I certainly hope so. It's not worth anything right now. They probably kept some personally, which people would take issue with because of the way they dealt with it. And again, this is why regulators don't like these things, right? This kind of stuff, these kinds of stunts are why the regulators don't like these things. And they returned, they did a BitConnect move, right? They returned, maybe it was even worse, I don't know. They returned the DAV at the price you lent it at. So when I bought DAV, I bought like 2,200 or whatever it was at like $80. They gave me 2,200 DAV back when it was worth 4 cents. So, and they did that to you guys too. They gave you the amount of DAV that you lent in the first place, but you probably paid a lot more for it. So that was, pretty ridiculous. But nonetheless, maybe they had no choice. I mean, if they were going to personally not, lose everything, they felt they had no choice. But nonetheless, the choices that they really had was taking better care of people, not locking their biggest lenders out of their systems. Even if they did have an issue to address, you communicate first, or at least through that process, much differently. And you don't control the market so much where people can't sell DAV. Those are the things that destroyed it. I'm going to move to sustainable ways to generate Bitcoin. I'm going to be talking about Autobot software and the opportunities around them. And, I'm an exceptional marketer. It's all I've ever done. It's like brushing my teeth. I can generate more leads and automate things. And I can pass all of that on to other people. So I'm going to be talking about those things because the Autobots allow you to grow your Bitcoin on your own and still have some of that automation and that freedom and flexibility with your schedule and stuff. Not have to watch it all the time, but be able to grow your Bitcoin without someone else holding it. And that just removes the risk significantly. So I'm going to be talking a lot about that. I'm going to be talking about free affiliate programs like Binance. I just signed up with Binance the other day. I know a lot of you are way ahead of me on that. But Binance is an exchange where you can, people are buying and selling all the time. And, while if you only have a few referrals, you don't generate a lot. But over the course of months, you can generate significant commissions with, and Binance is not the only one, with lots of these different programs that pay in Bitcoin. And there are people, their top earners, have made 166 Bitcoin. And, so I'm going to be making that a big focus of because that's what I used to do. I used to generate affiliate commissions with automated marketing systems. A lot of you might know me from, back in the late 2000, 2008, 2009, 2010. That was what I did. And I generated millions with affiliate commissions back then. But I'm going to now move that expertise over to generating commissions and creating systems for you guys to be able to tap into to create cryptocurrency commissions with legitimate affiliate programs like Binance, which is the third largest exchange in the world. I'm going to talk about automated leads. I'm going to talk about, in that, staying away from lending platforms that aren't doing the right thing, including addressing the regulatory concerns, and staying away from selling possible securities. And we'll talk about what those things are. I'm going to go ahead and just encourage you to look for the link under this video, opt in, and I'm going to teach all this stuff. I'm going to teach you all of it without you having to pay anything. I'm going to talk about systems and lead generation and how you can generate crypto commissions with automation using the system that I can give you. I'm going to talk about the Autobot software and generating Bitcoin in a way that doesn't put you at risk because you're holding your own Bitcoin as you're doing it. I'm going to be teaching you all kinds of opportunities around that for generating Bitcoin, because there's some incredible opportunities around marketing the Autobot software using the same system that I can help set you up with that generates leads and other crypto commissions like Binance. Like, it's all connected in a singular, simple system. That's what I do. I do have also a group for those of you who want to follow along with how the lending platform industry is developing. I call it Risky Business. And if you enter your name and email in the link below, you're going to learn about a group that you can join, not the Risky Business group, but another group where you can find a guide. And you'll learn about all that in the email you get. And you'll find a guide who can help you plug into all of these resources to figure this stuff out, and you don't have to pay for it. So again, my name is Mike Klingler. For those of you who followed my journey and followed, my story with Davor Coin, it came to an end, as you can see. Maybe the story isn't over. I would think it's fantastic if Davor Coin did invest into developing a utility coin that grew in value. That would be fantastic. I want to believe that. But until then, I'm going to be leading people and helping people with my systems, my marketing systems, to generate leads and generate cryptocurrency commissions in ways that are not so risky, that are sustainable, where you're holding your Bitcoin so no one can take it away from you. I'm going to show you how to automate it all and do phenomenally well as a marketer without having to create the system and the content and all of that yourself. So come on in, enter your name and email by clicking on the link below. You'll get an email from me. We're in transition, so the first email will just be kind of telling you what's to come, and you can keep following along on this journey as I evolve into doing something maybe a little bit more sensible, relying on my past knowledge and expertise in marketing, and blow this thing up in a way that's sustainable and that the regulators can appreciate as well. All right, I'll see you guys soon.